welcome to Viewpoint on Ukraine today. Over the past year, a new European movement has been shaking up the Ukrainian capital, Kyiv. On Viewpoint, we are joined by Oksana Forostyna, a Ukrainian journalist and executive editor at Krytyka magazine. We're discussing Kyiv's slow but steady rise from its post-Soviet deep sleep. Welcome to Viewpoint.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So let's talk about how much has Kyiv changed since the pro-EU protests last year?
Well, Kyiv definitely became a more free and more comfortable city. At least we don't have this every morning traffic because of the Yanukovych cars anymore. So that's just one thing. I think a few people noticed that actually. We're already used to that kind of comfort.
Mm-hmm. In cities like Lviv, Odessa, Kyiv, you see new trendy coffee shops popping up all over the city, and different bars as well. And a lot of media say that Kyiv, especially Kyiv, is becoming more like East Berlin. There's a big hipster culture going on. Mm-hmm. Would you agree with this?
I would partly agree. I don't see that as a direct consequence of Euromaidan, but of course it's predictable, because these people, usually described as kind of creative class or something like that, was a crucial part of Maidan. They were actually drivers of Maidan, and of course after that I guess they feel more empowered. Mm-hmm. And the second reason is it's just easier to start a business. It's just better conditions and more friendly environment to start something new.
Mm-hmm. I've read that quite a few young people in Kyiv, for example, they have a kind of a new attitude towards life, a devil-may-care attitude, where they believe that they've got less to lose and some nothing to lose, and so they tend to go out and spend more money and go to nightclubs and bars in the evening. Do you think that this is dangerous, potentially?
Well, it's hard to say for me, because I'm actually not a club goer. So I'm not actually frequent in nightclubs.
But this doesn't necessarily have to be nightclubs. This could be bars, restaurants. You see a lot of young people out in the center in the middle of the week, even in Kyiv, which was less. You could see that less before. But now, when you have a war in the east, but young people seem to be going out more. Is this dangerous?
Well, again, I think it's predictable, because people value just the simple things. And again, I wouldn't make any generalization in this, because of course it's a huge stress. I mean, the war is a huge stress for any society, and part of the society reacts in this way, like a kind of maybe even decadent way, and live fast, die young way. But the other part, of course,
is this the older kind of generation?
Again, I don't think this. We have this like huge generational gap. I think the main conflict and the main conflict in Ukraine is not between old and young, but rather between givers and takers. And this conflict.
Now, what do you mean by givers and takers? What do you mean by that?
By givers, I mean people who care.
About the war in the East.
About the war in the East, about Maidan before that, about society at large, about new laws in parliament. So they are actually involved in what we would describe as civic society, because they care actually. And the other part, the takers, can also be described as post-Soviet people. So they are they accept that someone else would take care of them. So they
are they more accepting of change, though?
Well, that depends what they understand by change, because for many people, change and reforms means that they will have better salary, for example, or the prices go down. So that's again the question of terms, and I would also say that these takers are paternalistic, and this is actually the paternalistic part of the society.
Mm-hmm. What about Lviv? I know that you're a Lviv native, and you've seen how it's developed over time. Can you talk about Lviv? Is the kind of more trendy hipster culture very present there?
It's hard to say for me now, because I moved to Kyiv from Lviv 4 years ago. And
but you go back once in a while, I
yeah, really. And of course, I know news from my parents and friends and so forth. So it's hard for me to say. And I think the main challenge for Lviv is to stay open to the world as it was declared, because now Lviv has a lot of tourists, a lot of people coming there, and not only tourists but also refugees and people from Crimea, from eastern Ukraine. So it's a kind of challenge how the society will react to this diversity.
Would you say that it could be potentially positive?
I hope so. I think that it's always a benefit for any city to become more diverse.
And culture will continue to be one of the strong points of Lviv, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I think it's kind of an institutional legacy of the city, because even in Soviet times, when everything around was, like that, Lviv was one of the Soviet Union's capital of the hippie movement, for example. And I think these old habits hard to die.
Okay, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
This has been Oksana Forostyna, a Ukrainian journalist and executive editor at Krytyka magazine. You've been watching Viewpoint on Ukraine Today.